Hi, it's About975 and welcome to Elite Dangerous on the Legacy version on Xbox, and today I'm in my Ramba. And for those of you who don't know what my Ramba is, it's basically a frag member that's been specifically designed to ram the hell out of the enemy. Now, Ramba did a video about a Ramba. Oddly enough, mine is very different from that build, but I was building mine the same time as Rui and he got his video out first, and his build was better than the one I was building, and I made some modifications to mine based on his video. I always recommend his build. One of the things different on mine is I have actually got B-rated thrusters, which is probably not a good idea in a lot of ways, but it has actually proved to be quite useful for me over the years, and it's particularly useful in this fight because I'm fighting another build that's kind of a trap build or a counter build or something that's not quite normal, and that's I'm fighting a flechette build. Now, a lot of people when they see these ships they scream counter build and stuff like that, but I always prefer to think of them as trap builds, you know?
It's a wrap! Where's my hat? It's a trap! Sorry, just finally figured it out. On my way back to the office, couldn't get it out of my head. Gotta go.
Because a counter build, you specifically build a counter to a certain thing, whereas a trap build is kind of it's a one-trick pony that's built that can take on a lot of different things, but kind of has that one-trick element that if they know about, they should be able to avoid. In this case with my Ramba, you know, once they realize that, you know, me ramming you is a really bad idea, they normally adapt and change. However, I have won many a fight in my Ramba when the opponent is fully aware that I'm in my Ramba. So it is a general comers build. I don't, you know, worry about what I'm fighting in it. It was specifically built as a trap to people that use 5 plasmac ramming FDLs, because there were a lot of players around at the time that ran 5 PA FDLs that proclaimed they were amazing PvP gods, but quite often all they would seem to do was to plasma ram people and barrel stuff. Now, even I can hit people with plasmacs when I'm barrel stuffing and ramming. And in fact, if you want, you know, when it comes to barrel stuffing and ramming people, that's my forte. I can do that all day. So I built something that would totally decimate somebody who went for too many plasma rams. Because the one thing about going for plasma rams is you're less likely to have 4 pips to shields. Whereas I'm in a frag build, I can sit with 4 pips to shields all day long. This ship was designed to be incredibly lazy for me, to go 4-2-0 for quite a while, 4-1-1 to recharge, and then 4-2-0 for quite a while. I also have heat sinks, not really, well, for 2 reasons. One, helps my recharge of my weapons and my distro draw. I can pop a heat sink on 4-1-1 and it really does help recharge those weapons more quickly. 2, I can go silent running for a few moments so you don't see where the ram's coming from, and you know, and 3, because it's always a good exit strategy. But to give you an example of my Ramba in action, here's Karl, who when he's really drunk forgets to avoid the ram.
It was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.
Karl gets this particular level of drunkenness where he believes that the Bioweave FDL is the way to go. And when he gets to that level, I tend to get the Ramba out and kind of give him that nudge that Bioweaves on an FDL just don't work that well. That's my opinion. And anyone out there wishing to try Bioweave FDLs in PvP, I would give you one bit of advice.
Stop it. Get some help.
I do find the cure for people suffering from the Bioweave delusion is a couple of good rams from the frag Ramba, and if it's a Ramba, that's even worse. The Ramba is all about like persistently hunting prey down, just trying to stay in their face as much as possible, holding on to your boost. So the bit where they try and boost underneath you, that's when you need to boost back and try your best to throw most of that power into your verts and lats to try and hit them as hard as you can with a ram. Because if you go forward enough, aggressively enough, and don't back down, you know, anything can be, you know, trouble and a handful when it just won't back down and just keeps pushing forward and forward and forward. And that's kind of the philosophy of the Ramba. That's why I like fighting in it, because you know, win or lose, I'm just going to smash into people as much as possible, try and do as much damage as possible before I get taken out. This ship has won me some fights against people that are way better than me. I think, like, you know, I can remember beating Modern Heracles in it, I can remember beating Vaz in it, and I can remember beating Be Great or Be Bait in it, and, you know, honestly, all three of those guys would destroy me in normal fights. But, you know, if you catch someone out that's not aware, this thing can crush them. I've even beaten Pugnant of TOC in his ridiculously damaging crate. We had 2 fights and it was 1-1 because first fight he didn't dodge enough of the rams, and the second fight he realised what I was doing and yeah, managed to dodge enough of the rams. It was still quite close. I remember once I caught early on in a fight 1v1 against Flipper Gold, I caught him with a really good pip check ram. Unfortunately for me, trapping Flipper Gold in the corner and ramming him is very difficult. Fighting Flipper is like trying to fight Vapor. He's so good at evasion, it's just unreal. And I never landed another good solid hit. I hung in the fight for a long time, and this ship's really durable, and I did, you know, it was a proper good 1v1 for me. You know, I lasted a long time. Fighting Flipper I'm never going to win, but it's always a question of how long before I die, and that one I lasted a while. You know, I've had fights in my Beam de Lance where I've managed to get Flipper down to sort of 30% hull before I've died, so, you know, I'm happy as Larry with my performances against someone that's way better than me. But usually I'm using the gimbals, or I'm using a Ramba, or I'm doing something that's not, like, you know, I'm not going to do anything in a like fair fight with FDL versus FDL. No, never in a million years. I know my limitations as a pilot. I'm just not very good. But in this case I was able to bully American Bully, and it was a good fight. He eventually decided to leave, so GG in 07 to him, and I've got to say, my ship hung there and held up pretty well, considering it's not a counter build to a Flechette build in any way, shape or form. It just happens to do reasonably well against it. And this thing is a trap for people who like to ram too much, that are in ships that can't ram, or people find themselves in FDLs with byweaves. That's all. Thank you very much for watching.